This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com with Piper, who is beside me but sleeping, so I don't know if I'm going to wake her up. But let me get into the news. Rampage featuring Jeremy Prophet getting kicked by this very large woman. Did a 0.17 rating from Toronto, which is actually up for them. SmackDown only did a 0.54 rating. Bray Wyatt didn't really make a difference at all in the ratings. By the way, I did review the Jeremy Prophet and Jessica Black AEW Dark match that they aired tonight. Of course, they're both Great North Wrestling wrestlers, so I wanted to see how they did on AEW. It was interesting that Jacques Rougeau was actually backstage at the AEW show in Toronto, but they never put him on the screen. That is just weird to me because I remember I did security at a WWE SmackDown show in Ottawa maybe 7 or 8 years ago now, and Jon Moxley dressed up as the Mountie and was like kind of impersonating Jacques Rougeau, and it was the biggest pop of the night for the Jacques Rougeau impersonation. So I find it weird that they would have Jacques Rougeau backstage and they would talk about him on air, which they did talk about that he was Jeremy Prophet's trainer, but they never actually showed him on air, which is just dumb to me. But they did allow Jeremy to show his athletic ability in that match, but I definitely don't like the style of AEW. He was wrestling somebody that just does goofy stuff, like he puts a move on, then like he like makes his hand go up to get the crowd to cheer, then like tries to control the crowd, and it's such goofy wrestling. It's not serious wrestling. I mean, I've seen the pizza flipping guy there. I just can't take it seriously. And I'll be honest. Yes, Jeremy, I'm impressed you're still passionate about wrestling. And the kick you took from the girl did look brutal. But I don't like the goofiness of AEW personally. That's the first thing I'd seen from it in a while. And I'm definitely not going to watch again. Apparently, Triple H is not at tonight's Raw because he's tested positive for COVID. Apparently, Shawn Michaels said in a recent interview with TV Insider that NXT specials could eventually take place in arenas outside of Florida. And he mentioned in this interview that a lot of the NXT talent haven't wrestled outside of the Performance Center. So it is something they're looking at in the future. From what I understand, NXT is not a money-making brand, and it would probably cost them way more to travel. So I can understand why they're keeping things in Florida. By the way, I have put the Great North Wrestling Heavyweight title on eBay. I have no more use for it. I'm not promoting anymore. It was held by guys like Davey Boy Smith Jr., Wes Briscoe, and none other than the Blood Hunter with the beautiful Melina. But I listed it for $750 Canadian, and that's only about $540 American, and that title was bought for $1,500 American about 4 or 5 years ago. So I put the link in the description. As I said, I'm focusing on YouTube. I'm getting rid of my wrestling memorabilia. Found some Haku and Barbarian autographs. I also put on YouTube that we were going to sell at future events, but basically Jack Kilby is taking over the Great North Wrestling events, but that's his deal. I'm just going to film it. So for as far as the little things like the titles and stuff, I'd honestly rather get the money and put them towards shoot interviews. Christopher, what's up? I've got a tired pup beside me. Baby Piper, newborn Piper, tomato Piper, as you guys like to call her. I'm sure Hunter will be just fine. I had COVID and was just fine despite having my vaccines, and I'm sure he's had his vaccines.